everyone, and welcome back to Behind the Wrestler. And for this episode, it's Cam Corban. Yes, you have seen his first episode, and if anyone who saw the first episode, it was a two-part episode. A lot has happened between now and from then and where we are now. I just want to elaborate on a couple of things that we talked about before, working with the 25 guys and the younger guys, and working alongside with Graham as well. Even we mentioned you working with those guys, but people approaching you a lot more and wanting to be underneath your wing a lot more. What are your thoughts and stuff about that?
It's been really fun. I get asked a lot about promo feedback and everything like that, which is quite interesting to me because I guess just being a manager, people assume that you're naturally good at promos, and I just give my honest feedback. It's rough because there are so many guys that I'd love to work with, even as like one-offs. But there's only so many spots on the card, and there have been several shows where Cam Corban has been featured quite heavily. Example, Maniac's one-night tournament that they have each year. In honour of the late Daniel Grobler. I was in 5 matches for this year's tournament, involved in some capacity, and that was a lot of Cam Corban for the show. It's tricky because as much as I'd like to work with all these people and everything like that, you can't oversaturate it with too much of one person, especially, a manager shouldn't be like the pinnacle main focus of the show overall, and I feel like there are times when there's a lot of Cam Corban happening. Lot of young guys that I love working with though. The 25s are really coming along. I feel like over the next probably year or so, they're really going to surprise a lot of people with their tag team prowess. They're really starting to gel together as a team. Just the stuff I've seen them do in practice and everything like that, they're really starting to click. So really big fan of kind of leading those guys through. They are still, relatively green, relatively new, but they are really starting to gel and click, and I think they've got some big things coming up. Nice.
You mentioned that there's a whole bunch of people that you would like to work with. Who is it like, your top of the list? Who would love to accompany ringside with?
I accompanied Tyler Chase in his first ever match, which was a tag team match when he was with Flawless Brutality. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun. I'd like to work with him some more, but at the same time, he's such a good, just natural. Like he just spews cocky stuff, and his whole gimmick is fantastic. Lance Adams as well. I think he's got a lot of upside. Just a natural talker and everything like that. So I'd love to work with those guys, but at the same time, it's a case of they're good talkers, and there's so many people. I've worked with Charlie Roberts. I've worked with Frankie Quinn, which was a lot of fun. I feel like me and Butler could be a lot of fun together. Yeah. There's just so many people. So many people. I've really enjoyed myself in Dan Martin's. Nice. That's been a lot of fun. Me and Dan just coming up with a whole bunch of goofy stuff. Kind of like a lot of the stuff he's doing with the Bad Bromance stuff with Jimmy Fox down south. A lot of it's just what me and Dan were doing first. So I enjoy working with anyone. I'll work with anyone. It's just a matter of is it the right time? Is it the right setting? Everything like that.
Nice. You accompanied with Graham, who's with a lot of his matches, and you're there with all of his matches. And recently you just did a tag team match with Tabitha and Sam Black
and against Old School.
Yeah. How was the going into that match and taking away from that match, because it's a difficult setting to kind of be in a multi-man kind of thing, especially in a tag team, and especially as a manager and stuff. So what was the, what are the challenges and stuff that you find trying to, work around multi-man matches, whether it's tag team, whether it's fatal four-ways, whether it's six-mans or anything like that?
It's oversaturation of Cam Corban as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with the Tanifas, they're such strong guys and stuff like that. You don't want to be interfering too much because then it just kind of cheapens everything. With old school Graham Hughes and Crystal Kane, their group was kind of put together, and we've only had a few matches together as a group. But I enjoy it a lot. I want to draw more, I guess, enthusiasm out of Crystal Kane, and I feel like doing things with old school might help her with that in the long run. I'm not quite sure just yet. It's just a case of I don't want to be interfering in everything with those guys. I think there's heaps of potential there to still kind of tap on by themselves without me having to jump in every now and then. It's tricky because one-on-one matches, there's you, there's the two wrestlers, there's occasionally something to do with the ref. If something messes up, it's pretty easy to recover or something like that. Tag team matches, more people involved, more room for error. So it's really, everyone's got to be on their game, and when people aren't on their game or people aren't communicating, everything like that, a tag team match can fall apart very quite quickly.
And like, because you've been managing for a long period of time now, and
don't really realise how long it's been.
It's been like
Maniacs United coming up to 8 years.
Yeah.
And when I started, I think they just turned 2.
Yeah.
So a little past 2 years. So
yeah.
I'm coming up. Well, the first year I spent as a ring announcer or so, but yeah, so I'm coming up 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, as
a manager.
Yeah.
It seems insane.
Like, how do you, taking it from when you first started to where you are now with it, what are your thoughts? Like, did you ever think that you would have the opportunity to work with some of the people that you've been working with and have offers from other people as well? And yeah, just...
That's tough. Obviously when I started at Maniacs, I was a trainee. I was training to be a wrestler. I had 2 gimmicks in mind, and I was really attached to those, and unfortunately with the way that my body is and past history of sports and injuries and everything like that, I wasn't able to quite keep up. So I fell into the ring announcing position because Maniacs needed a ring announcer. And I at the time was a radio broadcaster. New Zealand's only professionally trained radio broadcaster in New Zealand wrestling, by the way. So it just felt natural. I approached Stacey, JPE, and was just like, hey, you guys need a ring announcer, so I want to be involved. I know I can't train and get as physical anymore. So she was more than happy for me to come on board, and after a few months, as much as I love ring announcing at the time, we were splitting ring announcing duties with a lovely girl called Monda. Lovely woman. And it's rough going from Hamilton to Auckland and only getting, you're there to do ring announcing and then finding out you're only doing like 2 matches. So I was just like, I can do more, I can be more. Hey, I really enjoy wrestling, I enjoy the whole gimmick. I approached JPE and the booker at the time, which was Rough Guts, and I was just like, hey, I like talking, I like wrestling, what do you think about putting me as a manager? And Guts at the time was just like, I was already thinking about it, it's the best idea ever, and JPE was more than happy for me to do that. So, eternally grateful to JPE for giving me the opportunity. Rough Guts as well, 2 very, very cool people who I have the highest respect for. Straight away they put me with Blaze, guy who at the time was struggling a little bit with the mic, never really got a hand of public speaking and everything like that. So I feel like the 2 of us together, we started training at the same time, so we kind of took off pretty quickly. Like the chemistry was already there. Jumping forward to now, when I started, you never would have told me that I'd be working with like Graham. Because Graham, to me, I knew his work from KPW and everything like that, because I was I watched KPW and Off the Ropes and everything like that. So it's interesting you know, in hindsight, to see where everything's come around. Just because to me the character of Graham Hughes never needed the mouthpiece. You know, was always a very complete package. I was hoping when I first started managing that I'd eventually get around to managing JPE. Again, another person who doesn't need the mouthpiece, doesn't need it at all, but it'd be just very much the CM Punk and Paul Heyman. You know, the rest of the performer who's already such a loud person. You know, I've seen JPE draw blood from a stone with trying to get reactions out of a crowd from a completely dead crowd. You know, people love to hate JPE, absolutely love it, and the way that she's been able to transform that character into someone that people cheer for has been insane. Honestly, it's such a 180 from her previous gimmicks, and it's very weird looking at everything from where I started now to where it is now. You know, JPE is one of the most beloved wrestlers. I'm working with someone as talented as Graham Hughes. I've got a young tag team with the Taniwha Atrocities. I'm working with Crystal Kane, trying to get her on the up and up, which has always been a lot of fun. So really, after a few years, I've already got my hands in all the pies. I've got a tag team, I've got a female competitor to work with, and I've got a top male star to work with. I mean, I don't really know what else much I could ask for.
Nice. If an opportunity came up to work, you know, with the guys down south and the guys even further south, who would you like to be partnered up with?
It's rough. I'd be open to working with anyone. Again, like, someone mentioned to me, you could easily be the manager that works for everyone in the country and just show up anywhere, and it'd be a great gimmick that, you know, when the manager shows up, you know, everyone suddenly expects big things. But I'm very much in the mindset of, why would any book a manager? A manager's not going to draw people. But if I could go down south, it's funny because we were talking about this before the camera turns on. I would have loved a chance to do something with Shane Sinclair. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I think he's a great in-ring performer. As far as up north, I mean, I've already worked a couple times with Charlie Roberts. Lots of fun. Very smart guy. I had a match where it was Dan Martins against Alfred Valentine recently as well, and Alfred was a lot of fun to just chat with. Very smart mind, just kind of sit down and get a lot of feedback with, and just kind of pick his brains in the locker room, everything like that. So I feel like, even though the gimmicks right now probably wouldn't fit, but I feel like Alfred would be a lot of fun to work with as well.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned working with Alf, and you and Dan working with Alf. You know, finding out that you and Mr. Martins was getting the opportunity to work with, you know, Alfred Valentine, who is a New Zealand legend.
Yeah.
And you know, he's been here since day one, and getting the opportunity to, you know, just get the time to pick his brain and get the time to work with him and stuff. What was, you know, that whole entire experience for you?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. A little intimidating, of course. I'd only met Alfred one other time previously, maybe twice. One was for the Mitchell Mania show for CPW down in Wellington, and I think just in passing at another show on a previous occasion. Very different mind, because obviously I came up learning from JPE, you know, another IPW kind of OG, I guess. Very different mind to pick everything apart. You know, everyone always says that the best workers not only tell you what you need to be doing, or they also tell you why you need to be doing it and how it makes sense to the overall story. And Alfred's one of the very few, I guess, in-ring veterans who I've seen break it down to not only his opponent, but to the referee and to other talent in the locker room as well. You know, you're going to do this move and then this move, and this is why you're going to do this move. Just a very different set of obviously knowledge and everything to pick apart. I found it pretty informative.
If you ever, you know, if you get a chance to talk to Alf again, Ask him about a little story that he told me, and it blew my mind because I didn't know how he picked it apart, but it took him quite a long time to pick it apart. But it blew my mind. It's to do with two WWE guys, and he picked apart their characters and stuff and explained it to me, and I was just and opened it up. So if you get the opportunity to talk to him again, ask him about that. He'll know exactly what I'm talking
I'll ask
about.
him. I'm hoping that we can work again down the line. So.
Yeah, definitely. What's next for you, man? Like, what do you got planned? What goals you got? You got any 2020 goals? Any special type of match that you want to be managing or anything like that?
Nothing off the top of my mind. I take it one show at a time. I'd love to work for as many companies as possible. Like I said earlier, how do you as a manager approach a booker and say, hey, I'm going to add value to your show, even though I might only be able to make this one off because I clash with other shows and everything like that. If I never go, if I never work for another company outside of Maniacs and Hughes, I'll be absolutely happy with that as well. I'm not someone. I have no major goals. I've got a tag team in the progress with Tunny Files. I've got Graham that I love working with. I've worked with Dan. I've worked with Crystal Kane. I've got female workers and everything like that. No long-term goals. I mean, I've done the whole championship run with Graham Hughes, which I love doing. New ground with the women's championship that Graham Hughes won, so that was always entertaining as well. Nothing major. I mean, I had a hair versus hair match earlier this year against Evan Crow, another young up and comer who I really like sitting down and going over things with him. He's a smart kid. He keeps bugging me about a rematch because I lost the match, obviously.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't cut the hair.
No,
the hair is still here.
Yeah.
He's been bugging me for a rematch. I'm telling him no, but who knows? It might happen. It might not. Who knows?
Maybe that racer will get cut off.
It's not happening. That's not happening.
What's next for you, man?
One show at a time. I mean, Maniacs at the moment has been the company that moves around. I would say moves around the country the most. We've had Dargaville or our regular shows in Auckland. We've got Tauranga. We're going to Thames. We might look at more in the Coromandel. Might look more further down south. I'd love to do another show at some point down in Pairua, which we did a couple of years ago, and that did absolutely fantastic. It's really just making the most of the time I have with the workers I work with, taking the most of every opportunity. That's pretty much it. And nothing concrete in plans because it's the New Zealand wrestling scene. Like, it changes like that.
Oh yeah. 100%.
There's nothing certain. There's nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
Plans change at someone's simple whim. It's easy as.
Yeah. Is there anything or any advice that you'd like to give for the viewers before we close off?
I want New Zealand professional wrestling to step up with its promos. I find New Zealand this is gonna sound real shooty and there's gonna be people who get real pissy at this, but realistically, there's three. I say three. There's four kinds of promos, but we'll put a pin in the fourth one and come back to it.
Yeah.
There's three kind of promos in New Zealand professional wrestling. There's the 80s, 90s, like WWF style, like, oh, you, I don't like you, oh, I'm gonna hype up and I'm gonna beat you come Sunday at the Silver Dome, I'm gonna beat you senseless. Just like real generic, to the point, kind of overdone. Then there's the dramatic, look away from the camera, oh, you thought you could beat me, and maybe you were the better man at the time, long pause, looks directly at the camera, but come the rematch, I'm going to beat you into the ground, and my voice is going to get slowly louder to show how intensely I mean it. Dead silence. But yeah, I'm going to beat you this coming Saturday, blah 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 blah. I'll see you there. Generic promo 101. I mean, that's two of the most generic ones in New Zealand. And then the third one is obviously just the straight. I had these mapped down in my head before. Now I'm trying to remember them in my head. Just the stare straight at camera. Yeah, I'm gonna beat you. I don't know why I want to fight you, but I'm gonna fight you anyway. Blah 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 blah. Like no enthusiasm, no incitement. Now the fourth promo that I said we're gonna put a pin in it. The fourth promo is whatever Cam Corban does, because it's on another level from the rest of New Zealand professional wrestling, alright? So if I want to send anyone away with anything, is that Cam Corban is the best promo in New Zealand professional wrestling, and if you don't believe me, you need to come to a show and watch. That's that simple.
Nice. Take the advice, kids.
Yeah,
thank you very much for taking the time out and, you know, finishing up your episode.
you're all good.
And we'll catch everybody next time on Behind the Wrestler.